my friends, it's Nerdburger here. Welcome back to my channel. We talk about a lot of things on this channel, toys, comics, VHS collecting, but I never get a chance to talk to you about the actual movies that I watch, and that's a lot of movies. In fact, in January, I watched 34 movies. Now, you may be asking yourself, Kaz, how do you have the time to do this? Well, that's just what we do. Every night, we choose a different movie, Liam one night, me the next night, and that's what we do. We've done that for about 20 years, our entire relationship, so my movie knowledge is quite vast. I have to watch Liam type movies and me type movies, and I love talking about them to everyone at work, and I thought, why am I doing this with, my favorite people in the whole wide world? So that's what we're doing. Starting this month, I'm going to talk about all the movies I watched last month, 34 movies in January. We've got a lot to get through, so let's start. Obviously, the first pick is a Liam movie. It's a David Lynch film. I'm not a massive David Lynch person, but I wish I was. I wish I could get into the weirdness and the wackiness of it, but most of the time I just find it a little too wacky for my taste. However, starting Mulholland Drive was a delight. It was gay. We had a strange woman hiding in a house. Why is she here? What's her deal? Why is she hiding in the bushes? It also has Naomi Watts, an Australian iconic actress, which I really enjoyed. But then, about 3/4 of the way through, we left-turned at Albuquerque, and it got real weird. It went full Lynch, and I got a little bit bored, and I thought it was a bit silly. So I would have given it a higher rating if we just continued on the same road and not gone full Lynch. T for two, and two for T. I was really excited to watch this movie because of the movie Grey Gardens. If you've never seen Grey Gardens, Grey Gardens, please do. It's one of the greatest documentaries ever made about two fabulous people. Alright, and in that, one of them sings the theme song to this movie, T for two. Let me tell you, I used to love that song. Now, not so much after watching T for two. Didn't give it a high rating because it was a very average film, but that song is now ingrained in my mind. That's the only part I remember from the entire movie, is every 15 minutes, someone singing that gosh darn song. The underwater sequences in this film are breathtaking. Shot in 1955, you've got to remember what it was like back then to try and get underwater shots. You've got people with the camera and then someone in a Gillman suit, which isn't flaking or breaking. How did that suit not get damaged underwater? And fighting people, full fight sequences underwater. It's amazing to look at, and I spent so much time researching it afterwards. I also really like the theme of the movie where they took the creature out of the Black Lagoon and tried to shove him in like a Sea World. Of course, it doesn't end well. Orgasmo is a piece of cinematic genius. It is the second film by Trey Parker, and I believe Matt Stone also produces the film. It is a mashup of Boogie Nights meets Book of Mormon. Follows a Mormon man entering the adult film industry. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I'm so happy to be able to watch this as many times as I want, and if you enjoy naughty little films made by very funny men, then you'll enjoy it. This whole movie, I just felt sad for Son of Dracula because he gets sucked into this woman's evil scheme of taking over her family's plantation, and all he wants to do is drink some blood. We were so excited to find this VHS at our local store. It is one of Liam's favourite childhood films. I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was a delight. Though the plot is very, very strange because the whole film is essentially watching Count Rockula try to make sweet love with Wilma Flintstone. That's the plot. It's a bit weird. When I first watched Office Space many, many years ago, I was a teenager. I didn't get it. I thought it was fine, but I never understood why everybody loved it so much and could relate to it so much. Now I'm 38 years young, and I've worked in the workforce a long time and heard many, many stories from many of my friends, and there is nothing more relatable than wanting to take the printer out of your workplace and smash it with a baseball bat. The reason we watched Road to Morocco is because in the Pee-wee Christmas special, Penny's cartoon references the fluffy dress in Road to Morocco. So the whole time I'm waiting for this amazing dress, and I literally don't know what dress they were talking about because they were all so plain and boring. And there were so many problematic moments in this movie that it was hard to enjoy. Now this movie is on a pile of DVDs I got from the op shop maybe 5-6 years ago that have sat on the floor and I've never watched. So I forced myself to work through them, and what a delight Crocodile was. The special effects in this still live up to this day, and it's kind of like a slasher movie but with a crocodile. The Fuller Brush Girl is a sequel to The Fuller Brush Boy. Have I seen that? No. We started with this one. Again, it was a DVD I paid $1 for, and I would pay $2 or more for this now. The film stars the Lucille Ball as she goes around trying to sell people like Nutramedics but gets caught up in a murder scheme. This made me love Lucille Ball even more than I already did, and now another goal of my year is to watch as many Lucille Ball movies as I can. And I really want to watch all of the I Love Lucy TV show. So if you enjoy comedies, especially ones where they make ridiculous faces, and my goodness, she is so good at slapstick comedy. Now, we all know Bela Lugosi as Dracula, but let me tell you, that's not his defining role. His defining role is in this film, Son of Frankenstein from 1939, where he plays Yegor. Not Igor, Yegor. And his speech, and the way he moves, and the way he coughs on everyone is brilliant. It's wonderful, and every scene he comes in, he steals. I'm a massive Christopher Guest fan. I especially love Best in Show. That's my go-to movie at the moment. For any time where I've got some downtime and Liam's not home, I just put that on repeat. I could probably quote it by now. So I finally found A Mighty Wind at the same place we found the Count Rockula VHS. And I was so excited to finally watch it again, and I loved it more than I ever remembered loving it. There's something about Eugene Levy being that sweet, quiet, mumbling man trying to find a flower for his old flame that just fills my heart with so much joy. What I've discovered in myself is that I really enjoy what I'm going to call shithead kids. Okay, any movie that involves young kids being naughty is a theme that I like in things. In-Betweeners. What's that other TV show I like? Young Offenders. Shows like that. So especially if it's set in Britain, I'm really gonna like. And that's what this is, Scrappers. It's a story of a unconventional father-daughter relationship. And of course the daughter and her best friend are always in trouble. I really, really recommend it. I was not keen on watching this at all, and I would gladly watch this again. This is a sequel to Tombs of the Blind Dead. It's a VHS that Liam picked up as a two-part series. And this movie kind of ups the fatalities and ups the tension because the blind dead are now entering the town and trying to get everyone. And the final scene, it reminds me of the final scene is the same tension as that movie that everybody liked that you couldn't make noise in. What's that movie, Liam?
Quiet Place.
Quiet Place. It has that kind of tension in it where you hold your breath and... This tape was at every video store and really prominent in my younger years. I feel like my brother loved this movie because he was obsessed with basketball, so I finally sat down and watched it. Wasn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, but has Rosie Perez acting her butt off, amazing costumes, but a lot of the, it's a little bit outdated. Doesn't stand up to today's standards. The only redeeming feature to this movie is the beanie worn by Orloff. I got nothing else to say. I'm in a musical mood, okay, at the moment. I've been watching a lot of older 1950s, 60s musicals, and I was so excited to pop this in, and then we quickly found out that it's just a remake of a Philadelphia story that we have here on Laserdiscs. Look at this cast. Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart. How are you going to remake that? Well, they tried and it sucked. I'm currently on a Doris Day kick. She's a delight. Everything she touches is magic and wonderful, and I will watch her in anything and purchase anything that she's in. On the Town is an absolute delight, right? I love everyone in this movie, but how the hell did Frank Sinatra get an acting career? Because he is so uncharismatic in this film. I didn't even know if he was in the scenes half the time. He was just like window dressing. I am not keen on 3.5-hour films, ever, right? If you tell me we're going to the cinema, I gotta watch that, I'm not gonna go. But if you tell me we're gonna watch It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, is that enough mads? It's a Mad, Mad World, yep. Then I'll go along, because I don't know how many times I've seen this movie now, as well as the remake, Rat Race, but it's always a delight. There are so many amazing actors and cameos and moments. I especially love the mother-in-law and how annoying she is. This is just a wonderful, whimsical road trip movie, and the only reason I took a bit off is because it's too long. But you know what? I might change that to a 5, because really, I'd watch it again. So technically it's not too long if I'm willing to watch it again.
Where they just a gas station.
They've built a whole set, like this whole gas station for this one scene, and it gets wrecked. And every time I watch it, I forget what's coming up. And by the end of the scene, you're like, how the hell did they pull that off? I was so excited to go see this at the movies, even though I know a little bit about wrestling, and I did know the story of how sad this person's life is. I still really wanted to see it. And I wanted to see those stupid haircuts. And I just really felt like it was very manipulative and really trying to force people to feel sad, and it didn't give me long enough to kind of get to know the characters. Like, if you didn't really know wrestling like I did, you kind of knew the characters for a second and then boop, things happened. So I wanted to like this more, but I really couldn't. This movie was teenage me, and I mean it in a literal and other sense, whatever you want to say. This is who I wanted to be. I also wanted to date Abby Tucker in this film, and I was so worried about rewatching it. Is this going to suck? Because lately all the movies that I used to love are sucking, but it was brilliant. It is all about a guy who works in a video store and falls in love with a goth girl, and that's all I wanted in life. It's 70s women in prison exploitation cinema. You know what you're going to get, but what you didn't know you're going to get is this amazing outfit. I love Jerry Lewis movies. I love Jerry Lewis, but every time I watch one of them, something happens in it that makes me go, ooh, that's not very 2024. And that's what this film had. This is kind of like the Avengers Endgame of Universal movie monster movies, where they tried to have all the monsters in one movie, but it was a bit of a flop. You got a little bit of Frankenstein, a little bit of Wolfman, and nothing really hit. I was so not keen on Wonka until I found out it was the same director as Paddington 1 and 2, and this movie is just a delight. Anyone that saw those TikToks of people being like, I didn't know it was a musical, is silly. If you're in a bad mood, put on Wonka and eat some chocolate, and it is lovely. And you just have to accept that Timothée Chalamet is a singing, charming, tap dancing Wonka, and everything is lovely. Because it is. It made me feel good about life. I wanted to like this more because Sandy Cheeks is such a wonderful character, and I was so happy for them to have their own lead movie. You know, the other guys were in it as well, don't worry. But it was primarily Sandy Cheeks' story to tell. And you had Johnny Knoxville voicing one of the little chipmunk characters, and you also have Wanda Sykes as a Spy Kids-like villain with some amazing hair. It's a fun time, and I wish I could like it more. The first time I watched this movie, I hated it. I don't know why, because the story of an unlikely hero trying to achieve his dreams with his best friend by his side is something we can all relate to and enjoy, and I want to watch this movie so much. And for once, Liam let me rewatch a movie, because I don't get to do that a lot. He always wants to watch new things. But it seems like my charming personality won Liam over, and I got to watch American movie for a third time in, I think, a year and a half. Ooh, I wanted to like this more than I actually did. I love Ms. Marvel. I've been reading that comic, well, the version of Kamala Khan of that comic since it started, and I like Captain Marvel in the films, but I don't like the comics. I've tried so many times, I just don't enjoy them. I just wanted this movie to be so much better than it was. I got bored, and I don't know if it's just I've moved on from superhero movies like a lot of people have, or whether it was just not that great. But you know what was great? Kamala Khan. Kamala is so perfect. That casting, they are magnificent in that role. This is another Liam choice. Obviously, it's based on a Don DeLillo novel, and it's just very absurdist and not what I get into. The more silly a movie gets, I tend to get more bored and they kind of lose me. I feel disconnected from the film, so I didn't really like it. I also don't like LCD sound system, so the fact that the entire last scene is an LCD system song did not fill me with much happiness. As you guys know, I'm on a Doris Day kick, and so Lullaby on Broadway was an obvious choice, and so far is my favourite of the Doris Day films. The setup for this movie of a young woman coming back to town, and the mother is like trying to hide the fact that she's no longer a successful actress from the daughter who looks up to her mother. Such a good concept, and such a cool concept for women to play, because they're not just the same old mother and daughter relationship. And Doris Day is a delight. I don't know how many times I need to tell you that. We went to the movies to see Poor Things. Going into this, I knew I would not like the movie because I can't get past the concept of that film. I felt so uncomfortable when people were laughing and clapping in points, and everyone seemed to just move on from the fact that she's a child in a woman's body. I can't like that movie. I think everyone just thought, wow, this movie is beautiful. It's like bright, shiny things, but this film is so well made. It's so beautiful, and amazing sets, and those costumes are to die for. But I feel like everyone got distracted by the shiny thing and forgot about what that movie's about. It's gross. I love Lil Nas X, but I know nothing about them. I listen to their music quite a lot, and I was so excited that a movie was coming out about them, a documentary. However, it was kind of just a concert film, and I learnt a lot about them being queer, but I actually don't know anything more about Lil Nas X, about his life really. I know he has a few brothers. That's it. so I would have enjoyed more information, but it was fun to see Lil Nas X having a nice time. This is my final movie for the month. It's called Matinee, and it's a Liam choice movie that I actually really loved. It stars John Goodman, who is wonderful in everything. I don't ever think I've seen him do bad acting. In this, he plays a schlock movie maker, and he's making monster movies, and all the kids are excited to see this monster movie, and he's got this new technology, kind of like 4D technology, to make the kids excited about the movie. It was very, very interesting to watch, and I don't know why more people don't talk about it. It's on no streaming apps. I don't know how you would watch it if you didn't own it or rent it from a video store, because it's just not on anything for you to watch. But please, please, please go and try and find Matinee. It is such a lost gem of cinema. 34 movies in January, and I'm right on target to watch that amount or even more in February. I watch a lot of movies. If you would like to keep up with me in my movie watching, you can follow me on Instagram or TikTok, or you can follow me on Letterboxd, because I use that to keep track of everything. So thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoyed this movie, please give it a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know you enjoyed the video, because it's new for me. And I hope you are well, and I love you a lot, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!